All right. All right, there we go. Well, guys, we're going to be reading some papers about how the economy works, Monero papers. I'm the man that can't read. Wow. Whistling Diesel gets nailed for tax evasion. If only he took all his assets and put it in plausible deniability Monero. And if any federal agents watch this in the future, I am joking. I love paying taxes. I'm a good citizen. I'm a good boy, as they would say. I will say, Monero tips be funny. XMR chat's still not working in OBS, and I'm wondering if it's now a me thing, an OBS thing, a Linux thing, or a browser thing. So I will say that big L's. So we're gonna do some thoughts, and pretty much how the economy works, how Monero can most likely fix this in the long term. Especially against like any form of central bank digital currency, which I'm not a fan of, and you shouldn't be a fan of. So we're going to use secure thoughts and secure minds on a secure browser and open source operating system called Secure Blue, which is what I would call secure based. A little slow, but that's okay. Fedora. So bubble jail configuration. Okay, software. We're going to get Tor on here. We should always protect our anonymity. Remember that you should always VPN. So in your machines, you should use a VPN on the outside and on the inside, and then on the inside, and then VPN within a VPN within a VPN. Permanently delete your files. Wow. But securely? It's kind of clunky. Is 4 gigs of RAM not enough? Open that. Keep it up. Thanks. Appreciate it, man. I will continue. There we go. We're going to try doing this at the safest level, if we can. Interesting. Okay. All right. All right. So we have to first understand. I had to look through like my notes and a bookmark that I had for this. So we have to understand a few key components first, and like what are first. We'll actually start fresh right here. We're going to go to And don't show that. I get it. So first, I'm gonna get some. Software going. Maybe some notes. Because that's going to be the easiest way to do it. All right. I was reading again. No. Did I fuck up? Oopsies. Oh, okay, we're good. I was going to say oopsies. So I'm trying to find something. I'm going down kind of its own rabbit hole where I want I2P to get more recognition, and there was something that there was something that pretty much very similar. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I kind of want like I2P, but Tails, but for I2P. And it kind of sucks that there is not really an option out there, but I digress. We're going to open up Obsidian. We're going to open up Tor. Ooh, they might not both work. Okay. It's okay. We'll just do this. So first, we have to understand what is. I'm just going to use. I think it's CryptoPad. Rich text. No, why does JavaScript have to be fucking in? We'll just do the old text editor. Is there a text editor here? Well, there is. There's Nano. Damn it. We're gonna make touch notes money .txt. Yeah, I forgot this is allergic to pseudo. Okay. It's not as rich, but when we have important things we gotta cover and understand, we'll just go to the notes and have some thoughts. So there's a few key components. These may seem like silly questions, but they'll make sense. What is money? Or / currency? What is Monero? And then this is kind of like a sub-question. How can Monero solve some privacy concerns? What are drawbacks? And how to get adoption. Not just what is money and what is currency. This is kind of like the same. What changed after 1863 to 1864? This is actually kind of important. This is something that you learn in (1864). We're going to go over that. What caused? I would call it like surveillance capitalism to a certain degree, but also, I guess, financial fight. Here's quotes against laundering money. And terrorism. And then how is the last question? There's going to be more, but not important. How is code illegal? Like software. How can you make software illegal? How do you make code illegal? How do you make zeros and ones illegal? Well, we're going to talk about that. It's kind of an interesting thought on privacy and security. I think there are people associate. This is another thing. People. I'm getting kind of ahead of myself, but people associate cryptocurrency. They either there's three pools I've found. There are the people that associate it with not real. These are mainly boomers because they can't touch it. There's lots of things you can't touch in real life, like your wife. And she's real. There's tons of things in life that aren't real, that people can't hold. And it is real. So that's generally their, we're going to call this draw, common conceptions of crypto. I wouldn't call them misconceptions because I get where they're coming from. A misconception generally is something where you don't understand it and you believe it, but I get where they're coming from. So I would put, if I did want to put like misconceptions, which we could say there is probably misconceptions, but I can understand where the conception part makes sense. Like common misconceptions slash, I'll put a slash in there, misconceptions and conceptions that I think people have of crypto. I think some of them are valid because they make sense, and those concerns are generally going to be addressed through, different forms of, like, what is the problem? Like, people bring up, like, this. This is another one. Like, they can't hold or touch the asset. Mainly boomers, I said. What if internet goes out? I have an answer for this one, but not the point. I have an answer pretty much kind of for all of them, but this is a common misconception or conception that people get. Like, what if the internet goes out? I mean, people have said this before with debit cards, and and if you can answer this is fine. Another one is like, what is Bitcoin? What is Monero? That's another one. Like, what is a Bitcoin? What is a Monero? Well, I mean, you can kind of break it down to them. That doesn't mean they still understand it. Another popular one is, where do I buy it? Where do I store it? How do I pay my taxes on it? It sounds illegal. I have nothing to hide. This is the one I hate the most. I have nothing to hide. Where do I buy it? I would categorize these in a couple different of their own categories. Like, these are like generally the first ones I hear. What if the internet goes out? Crypto is not real. Let's probably put the one up here then. Crypto is not real. And what if I can't hold or touch it? I'll even say that what if the internet goes out is probably in there. Some people do ask like what Bitcoin and Monero is, and you explain it to them and they still don't get it. So that's its like own problem. I would say this is like category 2. Questioning that you get. And then once you reach a conclusion, you have category 3, which is like level hell. 9th level hell. I have nothing to hide. Everything generally. So a lot of people that start, what is Bitcoin, will ask, well, what if the internet goes out? But a lot of people, they're like, well, what if they understand Bitcoin, they're like, can't hold it, can't touch it, what if the internet goes out? But it always leads to one road, and this is it. I have nothing to hide. This is always the end part, like that you generally run into the most. It's always, I have nothing to hide. I'm not that important. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? What if the, like, and generally these questions are all like correlated with each other, and that's fine. I think that it's a valid criticism and response, especially if you don't know what asset. I generally believe that people should be literate of what they're putting their money into, because it's not smart to put your money into something that you don't understand. And then you get like the weird set of people that are, I would call them gamblers. Or bag makers. or you can call them fiat suckers. They kind of like, in a sense, they do this. They buy crypto, make bag, sell crypto, and either two outcomes happen. They make money, and then pay lots of money to Uncle Sam, or they go very broke. Very, very, very broke. They'll even, a lot of the bag makers will just hold stuff like XRP. Like, they're aware of XRP. They're aware of all these, like, shit coins that have a marketing team behind them. And they're kind of like the worst types of people, actually. The people that are like, I don't understand crypto, I'm not going to get involved. That's fine. I respect it. But the worst is like XRP stands, because they make up their like opinions. XRP, Zcash, Bitcoin, Litecoin. They just make up their opinions because they have maybe a boatload when they bought it at an all-time high, and they just want to make a bunch of money. And then they take that money and they exchange it to fiat. I call them kind of like, they're kind of like, if you've ever been to like a gun range, they're like brass goblins. I call them fiat goblins. They don't really care about the functionality. They don't care about anything that you could negatively say about it. When people bring up negative consequences of Monero, I agree with them. And as I'm reading more papers about Monero, I understand there are limitations of it. And Monero does have some few security problems and some privacy issues. But most of them are solved with easy to understand solutions. And in the future, when FCMP++ gets released, which you can test net right now, you could quite literally, it's going to do a lot more on the privacy side and the security side. So once you get these fiat goblins coming into like your space, they generally fuck it up, and it's not fun. They're kind of gay to talk to, be honest, because all they care about is price and like what new regulation is handed over to them. They put the boot quite literally in their mouth, and they suck very hard in a very homoerotic way. There's nothing wrong with that. We respect all people that like to put giant boots in their mouth and cocks in their ass. And that's completely, again, understandable, because they're not there for the vision. They're there at the end of the day for essentially to convert everything back to fiat, pay their taxes to Uncle Sam, and then go back to living their, maybe their life. Like, maybe they made a bunch of money out of it, and they escaped poverty. Cool. But at the end of the day, they essentially just didn't really escape the matrix. They kind of just bought a digital currency and went back straight into the matrix. If you want my opinion, you might as well just do this with stocks. It's much easier. You can actually get loans to do it, and you could live very you could just get yourself into like a massive amount of debt, buy a bunch of stocks, and live off those stocks in order to obtain your goals. Rich people do it all the time. People take out massive loans, buy a bunch of stocks, and then they use those loans to get more loans to borrow against their assets. And then, because you don't got to pay taxes on debt, you kind of like do that. But that gets into the economic side that we're going to discuss. And you essentially, or you can, you essentially are just doing a lot of extra steps to get taxed into oblivion. I think companies, if they want to operate, legally within the just, and if people want to, there are ways you can obtain Monero and still pay your taxes like a good citizen, as I embrace. I love paying taxes. I think it's the greatest thing on earth. I love the IRS. They've done nothing wrong. Very based, actually. So now we got that out of the way. There are some more questions we have to ask, because we generally have to get to some other types of thinking of like what is money, what is the change after 1863, 1864, what caused the financial fight against laundering money and to fight quote unquote terrorism. These are things that are always used to dig deeper and deeper into our financial private lives. And then what did the U.S. use before all this? How did they fight against forms of fraud, et cetera, in perspective. So we're going to look up the first question. What is money? Because I think it's important. Money is an item or a verifiable record that is generally accepted as a payment for goods and services in repayment of debts, such as taxes. In particular countries or socioeconomic contexts, the primary funds which distinguish money, a medium of exchange, a unit of account, or a store of value, and sometimes a standard of deferred payment. Now, this is another good question to ask. What is money? Feels wrong to be this early. It should be. You should feel wrong to be this early. So beyond what is money, kind of like the answer right here. Money is you thought I was going to appear in 2026, did you? I did. I thought I was like, he's probably going to appear in 2026, January 1st at 4 p.m. So money is pretty much a item or verifiable Vim when? Never. I hate Vim. GNU Emacs only, guys. So money is pretty much a verifiable item. You make fun of me using Mint, but you're using a Nano VI Emacs Poser. Bro, Vim is good. I don't need to use VI or Emacs. There's no purpose of it. It has no value to me. I wish I had the deep voice meme moment. I don't need Vim. Vim needs you. Use NextVI. Suckless based. I don't really get the suckless movement, to be completely honest. It is kind of... I used a suckless, though I did use a suckless environment on my Pine phone, like when I first got it. It was kind of interesting. But I still don't understand it. I don't get it. So money is an item or a verifiable record that is accepted as payment. It gives pretty much... You might as well be using Windows at this point. Kill yourself, Ryan. You use Windows probably. You use Linux Mint. Linux Mint is literally Windows. It's geared towards Windows people. What is Linux Mint based on? It's Ubuntu, right? Ubuntu and Debian are the same thing. What am I saying? You're using the corporate version. You're using corporate Linux. So you got to then kind of ask like a follow-up question. What is and defines store value? We're going to go to Investopedia. Not allowed, apparently. Man, there's going to be a lot of not allowed. I switched to Windows. Is that one Lunduke's favorite distro? Is that Lunduke's diary favorite journal? I don't know what Windows. Ryan, you use Mint. Your distro is close to being and somebody somebody made God the domain. It's like a URL shortener. It's really funny. Oh man, I'm not gonna find it. Somebody made Omarchies. They made a domain called Cuck something. It's really funny, actually. Yeah, I saw that. It's actually really funny. Dude, I don't even know why the fuck people were even using it. Like, people, like, they're like, oh my god, guys, Arch Linux, but with a cool logo. That's essentially what I got from it. Guys, Arch Linux with cool logo. You could just, I mean, Arch Linux has a Calamaris installer. Linux. It has a fucking Calamaris install. Arch Linux has a Calamari installer that you could do all this yourself and probably make it less bloat, and not by some fucking dildo that watches that made Ruby on. No one cares about Ruby on Rails. We should hype Secure Blue instead of Omarchi. Yeah, I'm using Secure Blue right now in a virtual machine, and make it mainstream. What I need to do is I'm gonna vibe code. A live USB like Tails, but it uses I2P instead. That'd be kind of based. I mean, I'm gonna use Void for. I don't really care for Secure Blue, to be completely honest. But I think it's better than. I have my reasons, but I think it's better than in a lot of spaces. I mean, Cubes is superior in my opinion, but if you're talking about just pure desktop like usability, Secure Blue is great. But so, what is money? What is a currency? What changed after 1863? So money, a commodity accepted by general consent as a medium of economic exchange. It is the medium which prices and values are expressed as currencies. It circulates anonymously from person to person, country to country, thus facilitating trade. It is the principal measure of wealth. I see you're in a Secure Blue VM. I am. I wish there was a System D version of CachyOS handheld especially. Switch to Void Linux. Yeah, System D free. Use Void. Artix is a meme distro, but you can use it anyways. Use Void, exactly. That's the answer for everything. The only reason I don't recommend Artix is because it's made by a former Manjaro. That's actually a fair assessment, because Manjaro sucks, and I'm a Manjaro hater, just like I'm a Linux Mint hater. Just like Ryan actually probably uses Linux Mint inside of Manjaro. But feel free to disagree with each other in the comments. Or the chat. Chat, feel free to disagree and argue what is the best. Can I do a poll, actually? Oh, I can. Let me see. Okay. Ask a question. We're gonna say Omarchi, aka Cuck Linux. Void, Gentoo, and Secure Blue. I can't add Secure Blue. Oh, damn, I can't add more than 4. We'll just get rid of Gentoo and we'll do Linux Mint. By the way, I'm trying to run a systemd plus Musil machine. It is possible. That's kind of crazy. I did try Void. I like it, but I don't like being behind on packages. Void's a rolling release. You shouldn't be behind. I did try Void. But I don't like being behind. Never had any problems with Arctics personally, but I don't know. Yeah, Void. Yeah, Void 100%. And pull right now. Why is Secure Blue camel case? I don't know. But Void is a rolling release, so I don't know how you'd be there. What do you mean? Yeah, that's what. Like, I'm confused. Yeah, but it rolls slower than Arch and Arctics. You don't get updates. I have no idea what you're talking about. I get updates all the time. It's actually like to me it's been more stable than Arch Linux. I mean, this just might be me. Sometimes I forget to like update my shit, but I've never seen its packages behind. Arch Linux is full of untested packages, and they pushed it out anyway. Yeah, like I just Void Linux allows you to use Flatpaks. Like that time they pushed out an unstable NVIDIA driver and it broke a lot of people's PCs. What I mean is the package base is similar. Oh, okay. Interesting. I don't know. What do you mean by that? Yeah, interesting. Well, while you guys argue about that, I'm gonna continue to read. And that is like something to touch on in the terms of anonymous, is anonymously from person to person, country to country. Like I can take a European dollar, give it to a European citizen, and they could give me an American dollar, vice versa. Like we could exchange currencies anonymously at whatever exchange rate we think is fair, freely, and that's how it should be. Also, Void packages have some other packages managers for some reason, like Gentoo's Portage and apt. Interesting, I did not know that. I've never noticed that. Because I use for Void Linux is super against proprietary, like non-free packaging, but they allow you to have a mirror that allows to put non-free packages in there. XPBS is more secure than R. I can give it that. I like that. XPBS is nice. I hate the fucking naming of it, though, to be completely honest. I just feel like they should have named it something else. Dude, the R is insecure no matter what package manager you use. I believe, yeah, I have read some bad things about the R package manager, but I'm not entirely sure. RN has a whack job packaging quality because it's written by random users. Oh, okay. That explains it. Void is not against non-free. No, they don't. They don't. Here it is. They don't put this repo. They don't put the repo. Where is it? Well, first off, I have Musil. Repositories are the heart of the XP's packaging system. Repositories can be located remote. A repository contains binary package files which may have signatures and data file name arch repo data. Also signed. Note that local they don't initially void is they're not. Let me use the correct. No, wait. Yeah, they prefer the free versions of package managers. This is why you have to add, when you install Void, you have to add the non-free mirror site. And it actually broke my system like a day or two ago. I was getting some SSL error with updating some stuff and some like other issues, and there was a problem with like their mirroring site. So I had to switch to a couple different mirrors to get my updates. But other than that, I did have some weird quirky issues downloading some certain packages in general. Do I have fast fetch now? I do. There's the based. I'm using most of my swap though. Yes, they're just a way of separating packages. I don't think it's a bad. No, I don't think it's a bad thing. I might need that next time I try to go back to Void, because that's what I was. So this is what people run into when they run Void, and this is just me being on a ton of forums. They run into problems installing non-free packages that cause, like, they're like, this doesn't exist in the repo, this doesn't exist in the repo, or like error. You just got to add. They have a mirror for it. And it solved all my problems. And then for stuff that doesn't exist or is more complicated to install, you can do flat. They embrace flat packs pretty well. They're like, just use the flat pack version, as long as it's verified and you're making sure that you tighten the permissions around like flat pack. But you can get flat seal, and flat seal kind of like helps that too. But it's really just a choice at the end of the day. I thought getting away. So my by the way, if you're complaining about some packages missing, please don't use Pale Moon. You can find a bunch of random unofficial. Yeah, just make sure to inspect the stuff like they are. Yeah, of course. I would never use Pale Moon. Funny enough too, actually, speaking of that, minus the, so like flat packs, I only have a very small set of flat packs that I use. I usually don't use like flat packs, but I only use if I have to. You should look at gvisor. Yeah, gvisor is cool. No, I know what gvisor is. It's very based. It'd be cool if Graphene OS could implement gvisor. I like Flatpaks, but there's some permissions problems that I run into. I tried it recently and used it to launch. You got. I've never used gvisor. I know what gvisor is. That's awesome. I wonder how you would get that on your system. I usually don't like. So, like, I think Flatpak's biggest problem is storage. Like, anything with storage, you have to access. Like, I had to. So, the biggest issue with Void is if you want a game, you have to run Steam's 32-bit version, like via Flatpak or something. No, you have to use it. Like, dude, getting Steam to work was such a fucking nightmare. But I figured it out after reading and going through like a ton of different shit. I got gaming works fine now. Like, it was kind of a headache at first, but I got it to work. You have to use Steam's 32-bit version essentially on Void. I don't know why. There's a decent explanation of it, but you can also use gvisor to run vibe-coded programs. Interesting. So I'm going to vibe code. I actually vibe coded. Where is it? My Secure Notes app that I should be using. I compiled gvisor. Oh, you compiled it from source, but that's fine because you used Gen 2. Okay. So I have my Secure Notes app, guys. Install gvisor. This uses the browser's web crypt API for the encryption, so it's super safe, guys. And look, it has a very scary self-destruct animation. Ooh. Source not available. I don't know why the default unlimit is so low and ulimit is so low. It's so low and void though. I'd have to see what that is. The ulimit command is a Linux built-in shell utility to view or set resources limits to the current user and process they spawn. It helps manage system resources such as the maximum number of open file descriptors, file sizes, CPU time, stack size, and the number of user process. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's like every distro. They tripped me up the first time. Huh. I've never used that, so I'm not entirely sure, to be completely honest. I must grab beer real quick. Oh, it made gaming so fucking weird after raising that limit. I fixed... Oh, okay. The only issue I had with gaming was just Steam, that's it. And I'm on like an older graphics card, so I'm not entirely... Like, I mean, I also play just Magic. I just play Magic the Gathering. So it's not like... I'm playing a browser-based game practically. Also, Landlock is great. What's Landlock? Oh, it's a kernel. Something to do with the kernel. Landlock is a Linux security model introduced in the kernel version 5.313 designed to enable unprivileged process to restrict their own access file system and network resources, thereby creating a secure sandbox. It operates as a stack LSM, Linux secure module, allowing multiple layers of access control to be applied with new restrictions being added but never removed once enforced. Landlock empowers any process, including unprivileged ones, to securely restrict itself, making the tool for mitigation the security to impact of bugs or malicious behavior users. Oh, nice. Base, that's kind of cool. It's a Linux security, incredibly new compared to the SE Linux App Armor. Oh, okay, nice. Based. Based, actually. Cool. You know what's funny, too, is I had more problems gaming on Linux with Pop! OS and Arch than I have had on Void, minus that one issue. It sucks Battlefield fucking got some kernel level fucking and easy anti-cheat. Really gay, by the way. So back to stuff while they argue in the comments. What's the best Linux distribution? The subject of money has fascinated people from the time of Aristotle to the present day. The piece of paper labeled the $1, 10 euros, 100 yen, or what? 100 yuan? The fuck is a yuan? Yuan? Or 1,000 yen is a little different as paper from a piece of the same size torn from a newspaper or magazine, yet it will enable its single bearer to command some measure of food, drink, clothing, or the remaining goods of life, while the other is only fit to light the fire. What are the differences? This is easy answer. The right one is the modern money is a social contrivance. People accept money as such as because they know that others will. This is common knowledge. It makes people that piece of paper valuable because everyone thinks they are, and everyone thinks they are because in his and our experience, money has always been accepted in exchange for valuable goods, assets, or services. At the bottom, money is then a social convention, but a convention of uncommon strength that people will abide by even under extreme provocation. Provocation. The strength of the convention is, of course, what enables governments to profit by increasing the quantity of the currency, but it is not indestructible. When great increases occur in the quality of these pieces of paper, as they have during and after wars, money may be seen to be, after all, no more than a piece of paper. Incredibly new. I look forward to a landlock. It is very promising. I'm wondering if is it possible to enable right now, or do you have to wait? Pacework. If the social arrangement that sustains money as a medium of exchange breaks down, people will seek substitutes like cigarettes and cognac that for a time served in the medium exchange of Germany after World War II. New money may substitute for old under less extreme conditions. In many countries with a history of high inflation, such as Argentina, Israel, Russia, prices may be quoted in a different currency, such as the US dollar, because the dollar is more stable value than local currency. Furthermore, the country's residents accept the dollar in medium exchange because it is well known offers more stable purchasing power than local money. I wonder if I could use Void Linux to make gaming handheld ISO, not distro, because I'm not prepared to manage that. The only complaint I have Void is the lack of SE Linux super based distro though. You could use Landlock at the moment. I think it's not stable though. Correct me if I'm wrong. It looks like it was introduced in the Linux kernel version 5.13. What is my current Linux kernel? I'm on 612.75, so we're almost like a lot ahead. So it could be stable by now. The Landlock is considered stable and functional for its intended purpose as the kernel native security module for unprivileged sandboxing on Linux. It has been part of the main language since 2021. So yeah, I mean, it says it's stable. You could probably use Void Linux to make gaming / handheld ISOs. I mean, you could take any Linux distribution and take it as an iOS, and I mean, take it into make it live and make it iOS, of course. Functions of money. So we're kind of learning what money is. What is money or currency? Money is an item, a verifiable record that is accepted as payment. What it people PEOP. People kind of make money accepted, and they kind of as like the is somewhat of a social. The economy is kind of like is like a social contract. This is where you get money is kind of a social contract. I imagine a lot of SteamOS tools and services are systemd bound. I have to figure out how to replicate it with run it. You just run it, man. You said the word. Dad joke. So, like, money could be considered like a social contract. I mean, the basis of bartering is always going to have like what is the store value of like my 5 chickens versus like your 4 horses. Well, if 5 chickens bring me better value than 4 horses, then it makes sense. So, you could say people make money accepted, and economy is the economy is the social contract kind of thing. Maybe I'm just tired. Okay, that was actually kind of funny, not gonna lie. Thanks. Or I'm just actually really funny. So money is an item that money, man, I can't spell, is a item that is a verifiable record that is accepted as a form of payment, etc., etc. It's accepted as a form of payment, store value. It's kind of agreed upon. The government then comes in and regulates it. So the functions of money. Basic function of money is to enable buying to be a separated from the selling, thus permitting the trade to take place without the so-called double. I've never actually heard of this. The double coincidence of barter. In principle, credit could perform this function, but before extending credit, the seller would want to know about the prospects of repayment. That requires much more information about the buyer and imposes the cost of information and verification of the user's use of money avoids. If a person has something to sell and wants something else in return, the use of money avoids the need to search for someone able to and willing to make the desired exchange of items. The person can sell the surplus item for a general purchase power, that is, money, to anyone who wants to buy it and then use it to proceed to buy the desired item from anyone who wants to sell it. Why things on stream would even hard depend on systemd? Why things on SteamOS would... What things on SteamOS would hard depend on systemd? Richard Stallman. If a person sells something and wants something else in return, the use of money avoids the need to search for someone able and willing to make the desired exchange of items. This person can sell a surplus of items for general purchasing, that is money, to anyone who wants to buy them and use the proceeds to buy the desired item from anyone who wants to sell it. The importance of this function of money is dramatically illustrated by the experience of Germany just after World War II, when paper money was rendered largely useless because of the price controls that were enforced effectively by the American, French, and British armies of occupation. Money rapidly lost its value. People were unwilling to exchange real goods for Germany's depreciating currency. They resorted to barter or other insufficient money substitutes such as cigarettes. Price controls reduced incentives to produce the country's economic output fell by half. Later, the German economy miracle that took root just after 1948 reflected in part of a currency reform instituted by the occupation authorities that replaced depreciating money with money of stable value. At the same time, the reform eliminated all price controls, thereby permitting a money economy to replace the barter economy. These examples have shown the medium exchange function of money separated by the act of sale from the act of purchase requires an existence of something that will generally be accepted in payment, but there must be also something that can serve as a temporary store of purchase power, in which the seller holds the proceeds of the interim between the sale and the subsequent purchase, from which the buyer can extract the general purchasing power which to pay for what is bought. This is called the asset function of money. Varieties of money. So this is something that I do get concerned on when people say that that money is fake. Are we just studying economics? We're studying we're looking at economic policies and how money works, and how maybe in the future Monero could possibly solve this. I think it is an important aspect of privacy because we are heading towards a capitalist surveillance. I mean, we're kind of already there. We're in a capitalist surveillance society, and the thought and the push for the central bank digital currencies doesn't make me really happy. So we're kind of doing a history lesson of what is money, how we got to this point. I mean, we could kind of point back to from the 1970s and some other economic reform that actually pushed for more regulation in order to quote unquote fight terrorism and laundering money, heavy quotes around that. And I think that is an important thing to understand, because when you talk about privacy, especially in the terms of the digital realm, when you have no option to purchase XYZ with maybe a credit card because you don't have one, or a bank account because you don't want your bank to know what you bought on the internet and sell that information to someone else, we do have digital options, aka Monero, to be able to meet this criteria. This is somewhat of a problem because people associate Monero with cryptocurrency, and then people associate cryptocurrency generally with how Bitcoin is viewed, and I think Bitcoin lost the plot. Personally, a long time ago, when it started getting more regulatory backing, Michael Saylor looks like a fucking cuck, and I do not like him. And the fact that all the transactions are public, I do not like as well. I think it's mostly scripts. I just have to figure them out. Game mode has already been figured out. What about what's his name? What's the guy from Steam? What's his name? Somebody say his name. Oh, it's gonna hurt. What is it Gary Bowser's? No, why am I saying Gary Bowser's? What is the CEO of Steam? What is his name? He made Half-Life. Gabe Newell. Hell yeah, that's what it is. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, okay. Where was I going? Where was I going with that? Oh man, I forgot. I forgot where I was going with it. Damn. Man, that would have been a real funny right there. Whatever. But minus that is we're in a very digital age. I think I should have the possibility to buy stuff digitally with people that maybe perceived this as store value in exchange for the product. I would like to give them the exchange product as private as possible without my transactions being scanned, and then receive the product freely, anonymously, and almost borderless, where I can like purchase this without the implications of the my credit card company and the fucking the federal government knowing that I bought banana bread off the dark web at 3 a.m. Whew. Handpick Trivalent patches and apply those patches to Chromium and compile them. Also, if you look at the crypto wars in the like the 80s, Immutable Void Linux, probably not something I'd want, but features parody of the same name as his name of the games. Unfortunately, guys, Immutable Void. That sounds like a really crazy. Immutable Void sounds like a really insane like. What do you call it? Kind of like a grindcore band. Immutable Void sounds like a grindcore hardcore band. A note to everyone, just be clear. Immutable Void is a hardcore band. Oh, damn. Those distros are atomic. Actual immutable Linux distro would be Android. They can be easily switched off. Oh, wait, hold on. Most Linux distros that claim they're immutable are not immutable. They can easily be switched off, probably. An actual immutable distro would be Android. Those distros are atomic. Atomic Void Linux, but yeah. Yeah, because I think, Linux allows a lot of freedom to change stuff, so I'm assuming that they could have been turned off. Is it easy? Probably not for like an inexperienced person. So that could be almost considered immutable. But if it's incorrect, I mean, sure. Obviously, Android is immutable. You can't change anything. You can't change things that can't be changed about it. I mean, that's what gives. That's why people are like, let me root my Android, brothers. Okay, varieties of money. Anything that can serve money, that have habit or social convention and successful experience, endowed with the quality of general acceptability and the variety of items have so served, from the wampum beads made from shells to the American Indians to co-wires, brightly colored shells in India, to whales' teeth among the Fijians, to tobacco among early colonists in North America, to large stone discs in the Pacific island of the Yap, to cigarettes in the post-World War II of Germany, in the prisons in the world over. In fact, the wide use of cattle as money in primitive times survives in the world of precautionary, which comes from the Latin pecus, meaning cattle. The development of money has been marked by repeated innovations in the object used as money. Illegal, but yeah. Atomic void Linux, but yeah. Illegal. Is it illegal, guys? Is it illegal to root your phone? Money. So that's pretty much what money is. It has a long history of being the barter system, a form of what we see as fit. I mean, if you think about money in the context of supply and demand, everyone, objectively says like, hey, this Pokemon card is worth XYZ. So we all agree with this, so it's going to be like this market price. And once you come to that conclusion, then you find a store value, aka paper money, to trade for that. This is what a lot of people do in the space of what I would call the boomer crypto people. They're like, I'm just going to get my XRP bags, have no functionality, and then take those XRP bags and exchange them for the fiat almost immediately. The only reason they hold on to it is because they want to make more money. That's all that really comes down to. This is the problem with the cryptocurrency as a whole, is because a lot of boomers come across it and they're like, I don't know what cryptocurrency is. It sounds illegal. And you're like, no, grandmother, it's not illegal. Ha 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 ha. It actually is a store of value in current 2025. That might change down the later line, just like any other currency. I mean, currencies have had shifts and dramatic shifts in exchanges throughout human history. From like, I'm trading cows for 6 wives. Now I'm trading $14.39 a month for 6 wives, and I'll let you figure out which one that is. So now that we have a brief understanding of what money is, let's understand what is Monero. It's a kind of essentially what Bitcoin was supposed to be. Bitcoin was kind of supposed to be the anonymous cryptocurrency, but it's kind of like, yo, what is this? Central bank digital currency, building the trust in the tokenized economy. Gay. Why do I have less disk space? Would a System D free SteamOS alternative be some people want, other than me, of course? Yeah, of course. Remember the meme. Does not anyone remember this meme?
Right, thanks everybody for coming, and please welcome Benno Rice.
Why does every Linux user look like this? I cannot tell if this was ironic or not. Like, come on, man. They already exist. It's called Gen 2 with all the performance of FingerFlex. What is even the point of having systemd free SteamOS?
So, I know this may come as a shock to some of you, but I have opinions. So, this is one of the Wikipedia that, hopefully I can deliver some pleasure onto my audience that everyone should have read by now, and if they haven't, please go read it. It's by Oren Shaw. It's called Contempt Culture. The gist of that piece is that people use contempt as a social signifier. And the piece itself is largely...
Why does he look like every Linux sysadmin / Discord admin ever? Okay, but to get serious. Why would you exactly want systemd free SteamOS? I just hate systemd. Not me. I know you're directing it at someone else. I'm just a systemd hater. Now that I use Void Linux, I hate systemd, and I have the right to now. And there is no reason. But while you guys argue about why you hate systemd to each other, I must continue to read. Okay, what is Monero? XMR. A very simple, easy to understand, and an onion site available that does not require JavaScript, our enemy. Monero is the leading cryptocurrency focused on private and censorship-resistant transactions. The majority of existing cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, have transparent blockchains. This was, at a point in time, touted as the feature that people like, but imagine your bank account being blasted all over the internet 24/7. That'd be terrible. One of the Void maintainers maintains a systemd branch. Boo! Yeah, there's a systemd option. Boo! We can boo that. Hold on. I need to signify this boo. Wyclef87 brings up systemd. I'm funny. Also calling it cancered or whatever is edgy as hell. Please grow up. We are not 13. No, you can still call it cancer. It's kind of funny. Look, that's the point of the internet. You're not supposed to take it serious. I think the only time I get tilted on the internet is when I game. I would say that no, there is. I mean, the word cancerous just means. I think people view cancerous as like an edgy term, but I don't think it's even edgy. I don't even think the word cancerous is edgy. Cancerous is just it's like a tumor that's growing and spreading like a cancer. I think people use words that generally define things that they view negative. Like look at Omarchi. Omarchi, in my opinion, the fact that it was spreading like a cancer and people recommending to install it, in my opinion, with no vetting, no one looking at it and being like, this is kind of sus, coming from just because he developed fucking Ruby on Rails, which honestly I do not give a shit about, or he worked on Ruby on Rails or whatever. There are things in the Linux community that get recommended and become cancerous to the community. Like, here's a good example. Oh my god, what is it called? Alright, here's a perfect example. What the fuck's it called? Oh, it's gonna give me brain ball. It's gonna hurt my balls. What's it called? Fuck. It's like an AI. I gotta go to my Twitter. I never thought I would say that, but here we are, pretty gay. Tails, man, I really shitpost a lot. Monero, John McAfee for some reason. Tor, Digital ID, Pee Pee Poo Poo. A man's true delight is to. Oh, forgot someone. Someone that blocked me. Pee pee poo poo. Ad nauseum. That's what it's called. People were quite literally. I mean, Louis Rosman fucking promoted this out of nowhere with no vetting, no thinking. Is this a good idea or not? I mean, it has a lot of permissions, which in my opinion is not a good thing. It's been around since like 2014, but it's getting all this recommendation. I'm like, it just looks like a stupider version than fucking uBlock Origin. I remember that time when John McAfee claimed that Samsung 7. I mean, he could be right. I mean, dude, he made fucking John McAfee made fucking McAfee security that's still around and still used today, and it's kind of pointless. I mean, at the time, the Samsung 7 could have been the most secure phone, maybe for the time. Could he be wrong? That's the real question. All right. Monero is the leading cryptocurrency that focuses on privacy and censorship resistance transactions. The majority of existing cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, have transparent blockchains. The transaction can be verified and or traced beyond anyone in the world. This means that sending and receiving addresses of these transactions could potentially be linked to real identities. So McAfee is technically a self-insert antivirus? Yeah. It's also the most secure. Look. I don't make the rules. No, back in the good old day of acting like Graphene OS, Boomer, Copper OS existed. Look, the most secure phone is the Brax phone. Look, I paid $475.69, $420. The Brax phone is the most secure one. Anything you say is wrong and zucked. So pretty much how the Monero transactions are confidential, untraceable. Unlike selective transparency alternatives like Zcash, Monero is the only major cryptocurrency where every user is anonymous by default. The sender, the receiver, the amount of every single transaction are hidden through a type of three important technologies called stealth addressing, ring signatures, and ring CT. So in previous episodes where we talked about stealth addresses, ring signatures, and ring 6T, we know that this is what happens. No, it's clearly Librem. Yeah, you're right. No, it's IOD OS. That's clearly the most secure OS. So you have to remember that like stealth address. So like when Monero creates a transaction, it creates a one-time stealth address that is not linked to your transaction history. It kind of like makes a fake address. It blasts it through the network. The ring signatures essentially make 16 fake ring signatures so that it's harder to differentiate which key signed the transaction. And this essentially gives you the plausible deniability. And because every transaction is private, Monero cannot be traced at this current time in 2025. This makes it a true fungible currency. Merchants and individuals accepting Monero do not need to worry about the blacklisted or tainted coins. This is also true, as we learned in Breaking Monero. Bitcoin that does churning or Tornado Cash or anything requires a third party. That means it requires an extra step where mistakes can happen, code could become considered quote unquote illegal, and this can essentially break down the privacy aspect of Monero. Monero does not need to rely on that, it is private by default. It's clearly a mobile Debian, you don't get it. Actually, the most secure mobile operating system, I know I'm going to go out a lot of hate for this, is actually Lineage OS. Lineage OS is far more advanced than Graphene OS, and they are the backbone and the core function of the even more secure option that I can't have access to it because it requires a level 3 CIA access is Calyx OS. Calyx OS is the most secure option you have out there. If you say anything otherwise than that, you're a Fed. But the merchants, the most secure mobile operating system is actually the Windows Phone. I miss the Windows Phone. Well, I mean, if Windows, on a realistic, memes aside, if Windows sandboxing and like a bit advanced more security was migrated to their mobile OS, it could have been. There's probably a timeline out there that the Windows Phone is the most secure option out there. And I hate Windows, but Windows just gets a bad rap because it's got a huge user space and, no shit. They get like their, it's like Windows gets hit by critical security vulnerability when it has 80% market share. Well, no shit. I should make a phone. I should look into this. I should dig deep. I should make my own phone, guys. How much is this prototyping going to cost? That's what I need to know. All right. This is essentially what gives Monero's fungibility. Monero is electronic cash that allows fast, inexpensive payments to be to anywhere from the world. As we've discussed before, a lot of the payment systems can cost you tens to $20,000 to $30,000 a year to operate because it gets massive amount of fees handed over to Visa, MasterCard, and insert credit card company here. Monero's store value keeps going up in terms of price. This is something that's done quite a little bit better than the S&P 500, although not insured. You have to understand that this is not the easiest problem to solve when it comes to like what should I do with my money, where should I put it, and how should I store it. What if not a FBI honeypot was actually the OEM Graphene OS was talking about? I would never disclose that kind of information. That would be illegal. let's see. Let's see. Wow, guys. 2 hours of my day taken into account. I appreciate y'all coming by. I will do. What if you rage baited on Twitter and said that Linux was a honeypot and everyone should switch to Plan 9 or OpenBSD? I should do that right now. I'm gonna, right before I go, I'm gonna rage bait this. Windows 7 is surprisingly usable in 2025. 90% of the stuff just works, and the stuff doesn't just find an old version and it works. Only thing I dislike is 7S. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who would use actual Windows 7 in 2025? What a fucking retard. I use Windows 7 because the hackers would be embarrassed that I still use the things that thing and leave my system. That's true. What if so that'd actually be super funny. They oh man, this guy's using Windows 7. He doesn't have enough money. We need to leave. Okay. Linux is actually a honeypot, guys. I have proof that Linux Torvald put a backdoor into the Linux kernel. It should be abandoned for a more not sure option, or more secure option. FreeBSD or Planet 9. This is not a drill. There is a level ring 0 in the Linux kernel. In the Linux kernel, there's a ring 0. I gotta sound like I'm smart. In the Linux kernel, this is not a drill. There is a ring 0 backdoor in the Linux kernel that has been there since 5.1.3. Hence why it's so big. Most hardened. You know what? The most hardened Windows manager. It's Hyperland, not OpenBSD or Plan 9. Oh, it's Plan 9. Damn. I need to edit. No OpenBSD or planning. Kind of funny. I just hate Hyperland. I don't get that. I like OpenBox now. I become based actually, where I'm OpenBox Stan. All right, guys. I appreciate you all sticking around. I will see you guys in tomorrow's stream. That's much longer because I have more time in the day. And remember to argue in the comments on what your favorite type of inflatable animal is. If you don't pick the dolphin, you're gay. And I'll see you later.